$100 a month, focused mainly on how we could virally get some spread of this. About a year ago, somebody saw those viral things that we were doing, said there's a way you can tie this all together and make it a lot more valuable. Started working with him, he's Scott Rafer, and after about 8 months of that, we got bought by Yahoo. Mazel tov.
That was very impressive. Yeah, very impressive. So, yeah, that was basically the 2-hour talk that we did last time. And just want to dive right into the details instead of wasting time talking about everything.
So we were a stats company. And stats are typically hidden, right? You don't go to the page and say, here's the stats. Most people want to keep that private. So that was the first challenge we had is, how do we actually let people know what we do? And given that we were actually tracking links out, that was the first thing that we experimented with. So if you go, there's still probably 10,000 sites or so that have a widget on their sidebar that's the top 5 links out of my site. And that was the first way. It was basically figuring out what we did that somebody else might actually want to share. And that's, to a large degree, what virality is all about, right? It's about figuring out what you do and getting somebody else to talk about it. And since they don't typically talk about their stats, we had to just start thinking of that thing. The next thing that we did was what are called click tags. Kind of a crappy name, but you may have seen like a Brad Feld site or somebody else's site. When you mouse over, quit laughing at me. He's the one who named it Mybloglog, so you know.
Yeah, totally my fault.
So when you mouse over and click, it would actually say this is like the 6th most popular link on the site, or the 10 people who clicked this in the last 24 hours. And that was another way of being able to share a little piece of what we did with the users.
And it came about 100% just trying to find something viral. Kept going back and forth, and we'd spend hours every week basically just having the same conversation. What can we do to get this information out there? Since it's stats, it really didn't have anything built in. I mean, nobody's really sharing information along those lines. So we really were hitting our heads against the wall for quite a while, and then realized when Scott came to us that there was a lot more there, a lot more value around aggregate data. So really looking at different ways to slice and dice what you have and then build on top of that is really where you get the virality. It's not just the one-off interaction.
Absolutely. When Scott came on board, we decided to turn this thing into a social network around sites. There was a big argument over the faces on the page, which is, if anybody knows what Mybloglog does, it's basically that. If we've been born at Yahoo, they call us Yahoo Faces on a page. And there was actually a really big fight over whether or not this was worth doing. And proof that a broken clock is worth, fuck that. I was right on this one.
Yeah, actually he was. And there was quite a bit of debate. For me on the tech side, Rafer on biz dev, and him on the product side. And it's actually, we think it's kind of the magic model, having those 3 pieces, and whatever you're doing, biz dev, the community piece, and then the tech guys. And we usually vote 2-1 unless somebody is incredibly passionate, and it's usually this guy, and if it comes to users, he usually gets it right, as proven by ourselves. So he nailed that one, despite all the complaints.
But so that's what the reader role does, right? Is it's again really simple. You register for Mybloglog, and then any site that's got the widget on the page, you show up. There's absolutely no work that you have to do. And I think that's another key element of virality. Remember Hotmail, like 10 years ago? Nobody had to go out and say, I'm going to evangelize Hotmail. You sent an email, and you evangelized just by the sheer usage of it. We did the same thing with our widgets. And it's going to be a challenge because there are more and more widgets out there. You go like Fred Wilson. And you look at his sidebar.
The Bling King.
The Bling King. We're one of those 40 widgets in a sidebar. So somebody else earlier said just because it worked a while ago doesn't mean it's going to work again. It's getting more and more challenging. Some of the areas where we screwed up, and I'm glad to share these. One of the big things is, compared to most widgets, we were far more complicated, right? You get like a RockU widget or a slide widget or whatever else. You go through the entire process, you can build one of these things and then put it on your page. And then maybe you decide you want to register.
Yeah, registration after the fact, and also something that they do that we don't do is personalization, really making the information that when they come to look at the site, letting people immediately start putting their own information in and really making it their own. And then just jumping back to something that Eric said a few minutes ago, making it easy. we try to be completely passive. When people ask what you do with Mybloglog, essentially it's register and forget about it. The cookie's set in the background. People surf around. If they hit a site, if they have the settings on, view a site 10 times, they're automatically joined to that community. Anything you can do to completely remove the friction from the process